Most people think the greatest danger at sea is the storm. Towering waves, exploding lightning, a ship breaking apart in the darkness. But survivors of shipwrecks often describe something far more terrifying: silence. Because once the storm passes and the wreckage sinks beneath the surface, survivors are left floating in a place where nothing changes. The horizon looks the same in every direction. The ocean stretches endlessly. And slowly, something begins to happen to the human mind. Many survival stories share an eerie pattern. The first day is chaos. The second day is fear. But by the third night, something begins to break. Survivors describe the same experience again and again. Their thoughts begin to drift. Time loses meaning. The mind starts searching for escape. And sometimes it creates one. When sailors are stranded in the open ocean, their brains are suddenly forced into a completely unnatural environment. Humans evolved on land. We rely on visual landmarks, sounds, and movement to orient ourselves in the world. But in the open ocean, there are no landmarks. No buildings, no trees, no mountains, just water and sky. Hour after hour, day after day, the brain begins to struggle to process the monotony. Psychologists call this sensory deprivation. When the brain is deprived of stimulation, it begins generating its own. This is when hallucinations begin. Survivors drifting at sea often report seeing things that aren't there. Ships on the horizon, islands rising out of the distance, voices calling from the water. At first, these illusions seem real. So real that some survivors begin swimming toward them. But the ships never arrive. The islands disappear. And those who swim away from their groups often vanish into the endless water. This is why experienced sailors say one rule matters above all others: never leave the group. Because once someone drifts away, finding them again in the open ocean becomes nearly impossible. But hallucinations are only part of the danger. Dehydration also begins attacking the brain. A human body can survive several days without water, but the ocean offers only salt. Some survivors eventually drink seawater out of desperation. At first, the water seems to help, but salt rapidly worsens dehydration. Soon the brain begins to malfunction. Confusion increases. Decision-making collapses, and the mind begins losing its grip on reality. This is often why the third night becomes the most dangerous moment. By that point, survivors have endured days of sun exposure, dehydration, exhaustion, and fear. Their bodies are weakened, but their minds are even weaker. The darkness of night makes everything worse. During daylight, survivors can see one another. They can see floating debris. They can see the horizon. But once night falls, the ocean becomes something else entirely. The water turns black. The horizon disappears. And every sound becomes magnified. Some survivors describe hearing splashes nearby. Others feel something brush against their legs. In shark-inhabited waters, this fear becomes even more intense. Predators are naturally drawn to disturbances in the ocean. Explosions, debris, blood in the water. When ships sink, sharks sometimes begin circling the survivors. Often they do not attack immediately. Instead, they patrol the edges of survivor groups, waiting for weakness. A lone swimmer, a drifting body, a sudden movement. The presence of sharks adds a new layer of psychological pressure. Survivors must remain calm while knowing predators may be beneath them. Panic only increases the risk. But staying calm becomes harder as exhaustion builds. By the third night, many survivors reach their psychological limit. Some begin removing their life jackets. Others swim away toward imaginary rescue ships. A few simply stop responding. They float silently beside the living. Yet some people manage to endure. What separates those who survive from those who do not? Often it comes down to discipline. Survivors who maintain routines are far more likely to stay mentally stable. They focus on simple tasks: checking life jackets, staying close to others, watching the horizon. These small actions anchor the mind. They prevent panic from taking control. Another critical factor is group cohesion. Survivors who stay together often encourage one another to remain alert. They talk. They share hope. They remind each other that rescue may still come. Isolation, on the other hand, accelerates psychological collapse. The ocean is vast, and a single person drifting alone can feel impossibly small. History is filled with survival stories where the greatest threat was not the storm, the hunger, or the sharks. It was the mind. Because when the human brain loses hope, the body often follows. This is why sailors and rescue experts understand a simple truth about survival at sea. The storm may sink the ship, but the ocean tests the mind, and the real battle begins long after the wreck disappears beneath the waves. Some survivors will last hours, others will endure for days, but those who survive the longest usually share one trait. They refuse to let the ocean convince them they are already dead, because out there on the endless horizon, hope may be the most important life raft of all. As night deepens, a group of survivors huddles together, each lost in their own turbulent thoughts. Whispered conversations fill the dark void, punctuated by the eerie sounds of the sea. "Do you see it?" one man asks, pointing toward a distant shape, a flicker of hope glimmering momentarily in his fading mind. "Is that land?" Another casts a doubtful glance, weary eyes betraying exhaustion and disbelief. "It's just the waves," she murmurs, trying to ground the group in reality. Yet the allure of escape pulls at them like a magnetic force, the struggle to distinguish between despair and the fragile thread of hope growing ever more tenuous. The darkness surrounding them amplifies every sound, twisting the familiar into the unknown. A splash echoes close, sending shivers through their spines. "What was that?" A young woman gasps, gripping her life jacket tighter. "Just the sea," the older man reassures, though his voice quivers, betraying his own fear. Above them, the starless sky feels impossibly heavy, as if pressing down on their fragile minds. They try to focus on each other's voices, clinging to the warmth of camaraderie as the ocean yawns beneath them, a vast dark maw threatening to swallow their hopes entirely. "Stay close," he insists, knowing their survival depends on unity amidst the growing darkness. As the hours drag on, the chilling silence envelops them once more, broken only by the sound of their own breaths. A few moments pass, and one man, his voice barely above a whisper, shares a memory of his home. A quiet evening filled with laughter, the scent of dinner wafting through the air. "I never thought I'd miss that smell," he admits, a bittersweet smile flickering across his lips. The group listens intently, grasping at his words like breadcrumbs leading them back to sanity. "We'll get back there," the woman asserts, though doubt clenches at her heart. "We just need to hold on." Hope mingles with fear, and together they bolster one another, each recalling a cherished moment that keeps despair at bay in the face of the ocean's overwhelming grasp. "Look at the horizon," the older man whispers, squinting into the darkness, searching for any flicker of light. "Maybe the dawn will come soon." The group nods subtly, each needing that shared vision of hope, yearning for the sun to rise and chase away their fears. Anxiety tangles with anticipation, and the sea seems to hold its breath as they await the first signs of morning. "We can't let ourselves drift into despair," the young woman urges, her voice steady yet fragile. "Let's pledge to share whenever we see something, anything at all." They murmur their agreement, a quiet resolve washing over them like a wave. "And if anyone sees that land again, we'll shout it out together," the man adds, a flicker of determination igniting in his weary eyes. Hope returns, not as a given, but a shared battle cry among them, a vow that they will continue fighting against the encroaching darkness, their minds a crucial battleground in the fight for survival. As exhaustion presses down on them, the group remains restless. The horizon, an unchanging veil of dark water, plays tricks on their senses, each survivor's imagination conjuring visions of paradise just out of reach. "I swear I saw something," the young woman insists, her voice laced with desperation as she peers into the shadows. "A light, maybe?" The older man shakes his head gently, weary but trying to instill calm. "It's just the ocean, my dear. The mind plays cruel tricks when fear takes hold." Yet each heartbeat, Each swell of the waves becomes a reminder of their plight. They scan the endless void, knowing every minute they cling to hope draws them closer to the possibility of rescue, even as the darkness threatens to engulf them whole. Together they take a deep breath, their resolve hardening like the hull of a beleaguered ship, bracing against the storm that rages within. The night stretches on, seemingly endless, but a flicker of resilience ignites within the group. They sit together, sharing their stories, memories of warmth and comfort becoming lifelines. Remember that summer picnic by the lake? One man suddenly smiles, laughter echoing softly through the darkness. We roasted marshmallows until they were perfect. Another joins in, recalling the taste of sweet melted chocolate, each memory vibrant against the bleak backdrop of the ocean. Laughter feels foreign yet essential, a defiance against despair. We're still here, fighting, the young woman echoes, her spirit buoyed by the shared laughter they create amid the weight of uncertainty. As they exchange tales, the memories weave an invisible thread of solidarity, connecting their hearts in the midst of fear. We aren't alone, the older man affirms, the softness in his voice cutting through the night. We are a team. The whisper of the waves cradles their words, turning laughter into a shield that momentarily protects them from the encroaching shadows. Hope starts to forge a new path in their minds, pushing against the overwhelming reality of their circumstances, compelling them to remember that together, they are stronger. Let's keep talking, the older man suggests, his eyes scanning the dark waves for any sign of danger. Tell me more about your families. A moment of hesitation passes as the group contemplates revealing their pasts. But one by one, they begin to share stories of loved ones. The young woman speaks first, recounting her younger brother's infectious laughter, a sound that feels lost to her now. Each story shared helps dispel the thickening fear, weaving a fragile tapestry of connection. With each recollection, their voices grow steadier, the bonds of their shared humanity anchoring them amidst the vast, indifferent ocean that seeks to drown their hopes. Sometimes I close my eyes and see him, she confesses, her voice quaking slightly. His goofy grin, the way he always knew how to make me laugh. The group falls silent, feeling her longing in the stillness. Just hold on to that feeling, the older man encourages, his tone gentle. It keeps us alive, remembering what we love. The others nod, sharing silent vows to carry those memories like life buoys, essential as they drift together among the waves. As dawn approaches, a muted glow begins to stretch across the horizon, piercing through the darkness that has held the survivors captive. Each face turns instinctively towards the light, a collective breath released from tight chests. In that moment, hope rekindles, illuminating their spirits like the first rays breaking through the clouds. They realize, against all odds, they're still here, still fighting, and still alive. Hope remains their lifeboat, relentless against the ocean's dark grasp.